The story of Elton Brand, one of the most forgotten number one picks in NBA history. Elton Brand attended Peekskill High School. He was a very good high school player, and he was named New York State Mr. Basketball. He joined Duke University. His first season, he averaged 13 points a game for Duke. His second season, he was their star player. He averaged 18 points a game, and then he declared for the 1999 NBA draft. The 1999 NBA draft was a very good draft in the long run, but he was the number one pick in the 1999 NBA draft and was drafted by the Chicago Bulls, who just came off a terrible season without MJ, Pippen, or Rodman. In his first season, he averaged 20 points a game, 10 rebounds. He played 81 games, and overall, it was a very good rookie season, and it was enough to win Rookie of the Year. The 20 and 10 would become a staple of his career. He was a very good scorer, and in his first season, he had games where he would go off and score a lot of points. He had a game against Washington where he scored 44 points in his rookie season, and he also had a game against Sacramento where he grabbed 18 rebounds. He was a very good rebounder, a very good scorer in his rookie season. He was the Rookie of the Year for a reason. But Chicago weren't very good, as he played almost all but one game, and they won 17 games with him on the floor. His second season, similar stats, 20 and 10, but he played less games. He still was putting up the similar stats, so he was a very good player, but he just wasn't as good as Chris Webber, Tim Duncan. Dirk wasn't fully developed yet. Kevin Garnett, all those very good power forwards. He was like a step below them. He was a very good power forward, but he was a step below them, which is why he couldn't make the All-NBA team, and sometimes he usually couldn't even make the All-Star team. This season, his high was only 31, and overall, he didn't have as good season as the last one. Again, they missed the playoffs. In a shocking turn of events, the Bulls traded him, their upcoming 20 and 10 player, and one of the worst trades for the Bulls. They traded him for a rookie, high school, not very polished Tyson Chandler. To the LA Clippers for the second pick. The LA Clippers, with LA Clippers, he averaged 18 points a game, played 6 more games. He also had a very good rebounding season, but the Clippers still were bad. But he did become the first Clipper in 8 years to be an All-Star, which was impressive. Again, his game high was 31. His rebounds, he had 23 rebounds. And this was Pau Gasol's rookie season. It was very impressive. Even though Pau Gasol was a rookie, he was a very good rookie, and he ended up winning the Rookie of the Year. But he out-rebounded rookie Pau Gasol 23-13, which is impressive. Going into 2003, after his first All-Star appearance, he only played 62 games. in the 2003 season. He had similar stats, but he wasn't able to replicate his success. He wasn't a 20 and 10 guy, just like last season. This time he struggled with injuries. But again, the Clippers did not make the playoffs. He had a 34-point game, and again, he was consistent and had another 23 rebound game, which is very impressive. In 2004, he had another 20, 10, just being consistent. Nothing special, but again, the Clippers, he had an opportunity in 2000 free agency to switch teams, but he stayed with the Clippers. That was a very bad decision, as he could have joined the Miami Heat, which would become champions in 2006, which is actually Elton Brand's best season. So imagine Shaq, Elton Brand, and D Wade. That would have been an insane team, but instead he stuck with the Clippers. But back to the 2004 regular season, the team was still bad. He had a 39-point game against the Celtics, and he had another 20 rebound game. So he's very consistent, very good player. But again, as Dirk developed, it was hard for him to make an All-Star team. As Kevin Garnett, Dirk, Tim Duncan, and Chris Webber basically logged up all the All-Star appearances during this time. 2005, they won 37. They won 37 games when he was on the floor, but again, still not good enough to make the playoffs. But that was about to change finally. He had 36. His game high was 36 points, and he had 18 rebounds. Again, very consistent 20 and 10 guy, but because of all the competition in a power forward position, crazy competition. If he was in another era when power forward wasn't as strong, he could have been in the Hall of Famer with how good he was. Just a very consistent. I compare him to like Bob Lanier, who was like another 20 and 10 guy. He's a Hall of Famer, and he was a power forward center, or a center, I believe, yeah. But he was big, and although there was like Kareem and Bob McAdoo, that was about it for the 70s. You're not saying Elton Brand is better than Bob Lanier. I'm just saying Elton Brand had very bad circumstances. 2006, after so long, since 1999, since he was drafted, he would always have been on bad teams. The Clippers finally made the playoffs. Now, this is also Elton Brand's first season in playoffs, but also the Clippers had been bad for so long, since like the 1970s. They were really bad. That's when they were Buffalo Braves. An awful franchise. In the regular season, he played 79 games, and they were a winning team for the first time. He had a 44-point game against Memphis. For whatever reason, he just had a really good time against Pau Gasol. I believe Pau Gasol played in this game. Again, he had a very good game against... Yeah. The Grizzlies' defense, I guess, wasn't good enough. This twice, he had very good games against Pau Gasol, and he also had a 20 rebound game. But this is his most remembered season. I told you he was one of the most forgotten players. This is the part of his career that almost everyone knows about, and that's the 2006 playoffs. And every other part of the season, he was mediocre at best. I mean, he was very good, but he wasn't able to get past it. In the playoffs, they faced the Denver Nuggets with Carmelo Anthony and Allen Iverson. They beat them in 5 with a decent team, but nothing special. Then, Phoenix series, which is what he's most known for. Yeah, we put 40 in the first game, 27 in the second game, and they won easily. 20 in the third game. Fourth, they won 30. Game 5 in Phoenix, 33 points but lost by 7. They forced a Game 7 with 30. In the Game 7, Elton Brand played well. He scored 36 points, but he still lost by 20. The Suns lost to the Mavericks, who went to the NBA Finals, and they lost there. But this is the Clippers for a long time. This is like tied with our best season ever. As until 2021, they never made it to the conference finals, and the second round was the farthest they made it, which is crazy to say. But the Clippers were just a bad franchise, and as a result of his stellar play in the playoffs and also in the regular season, he was a second-team All-NBA, which is easily, comfortably his best performance. He was also an All-Star. And he was even in MVP talks, which is crazy. 2007, he played 80 games, but after a 25 point per game season and the season where he made it to the second round, not only did they not make the playoffs, but he fell off. Whatever reason it might be, he still played well. He still had 20 and 10, but he wasn't this same player. He had 37-point game again, another great game against Memphis, and he also had 19 rebounds. But that's besides the point. As after that stellar season where he's even in MVP talks and was averaging 25 points a game, almost, he fell off bad. In 2008, which was his last season with the Clippers, he ruptured his Achilles, and this would basically be the end of his career. Technically, he played 8 more years, but it was obvious that he wasn't going to be the same player after this. 2009, he signed with the Philadelphia 76ers. And from then on, he was never an All-Star. He averaged 13 points a game in the first season. 13 points a game, 15 points a game. Had a bounce-back season, played 81 games, was a solid role player, and they made the playoffs. This was basically the last time we saw anything resembling the old Elton Brand, as the Achilles broke all of his athleticism, and he was never the same player like most players after Achilles injury. In the playoffs, they faced the Miami Heat, and they lost in 5. He had the two 20 points a game, 2 20-point games, but it was clear to see to everyone he was no longer the same player. 2012, they lost to the Celtics in a tough 7 games after beating the Bulls, but it was clear to see he only averaged 11 points. He said he was a role player now. 2013, they missed the playoffs. In 2014, he joined the Atlanta Hawks. In 2015, his last chance to win a ring. The farthest he made it. Most people don't know that he even played for the Atlanta Hawks this season. The 2015 Hawks, the team that lost to the conference finals to Braun. And finally, he had his song last season in Philadelphia, and he became the general manager, which he is a very controversial one, but that's what he is. 17 games played. Impressively played 17 seasons by his Achilles injury. But he was one of the most forgotten players overall. 2 All-Star appearances, an All-NBA team, 2006 All-NBA second team, and it was in MVP talks, Rookie of the Year, and All-Rookie. One of the most forgotten and great first overall picks. Goodbye.